All right, hey there. Good morning, everybody. Chris Franks with Texas West Capital coming at you live here, just a few minutes after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Friday, the 26th of January, 2024, just north of Houston, Texas. Always good to see you guys checking in. Um, I apologize for running a little bit late here. I think most of y'all know I hurt my back a few months ago, and still dealing with that right now. So. Um, in a bit of pain today. So I think this stream will probably just maybe be about an hour, maybe a little bit less, and then we'll get on with it. All right. How are y'all doing? Y'all doing all right? We're going to talk about Bitcoin today. We're going to talk about the dollar, gold, stocks, potentially oil, stuff like that. Fibbo is supposed to be with us, as you guys know. I think most of y'all probably know. He apologized for not being able to make it again this week, but his work life is just absolutely crazy the last few weeks. I got something going on, but he seems pretty positive he'll be on next week. There is a link if you guys follow me on Twitter there or X or whatever it's called. He did mention on there that Crown Crypto Cave, something like that. Anyway, he recorded something this morning, pre-recorded, didn't go live, but with Crown this morning, and it's going to be released later tonight. So it'll be here on YouTube. You can look, it's KROWN. So you guys can check that out if you want to get some update from him before he's live here next week. All right. Alvin, I appreciate you, man. Who else here? Good to see you guys. Let me see here. Brian, what's up, man? Sats is here. Data's here. Man, I hope I don't screw up your name there. Janria? I hope I got that right. Alvin, of course, Soren, Martin, Mark, good to see you guys here. Wazobia Dollars, what's up, my friend? Always good to see you checking in. Alvin says Eric Crown is the gentleman's name. So, yeah, that's what it'll be. Nevlusian, Andrew Bennett, globally yours. What's going on, guys? So, yeah, Bitcoin, the ETF, was approved. What was that? Last week? I guess it's been last week now, right? It's been about 2 weeks, or a week. It's been something like that. Anyway, I think we're up almost $1 billion net inflows overall. So even with all the exodus from GBTC, we've still got more inflows than outflows overall. Crazier yet is just how much money is actually flowing into it, into the ETFs, and so. Any other ETF right now, you would be like, oh my God, this is absolutely crazy if it's doing this kind of money. And then, yeah, Bitcoin, everybody's like, oh, it's a failure. It's a failure. But I think it's because, generally speaking, retail is pretty emotional anyway. In crypto, they're even more emotional. So everybody expecting, big God candle or whatever coming out of the ETF news. But, ETFs take a little bit of time, right? So again, you've got redemption periods. T1, T2. So you notice net outflows from GBTC before you'd even really notice net inflows to the other ones. And so just a whole bunch of stuff like that. And then just because it's, it's legal, SEC said, okay. It doesn't mean that your companies like, Schwab or Edward Jones or something are going to allow their customers to actually get into it, right? We heard about it with Vanguard. Vanguard's like, nope, we're not going to do it. It doesn't, go with the way that we feel about things, right? And then somebody says, well, wait, you have the Bitcoin futures ETF there, right? Yeah, y'all hypocrites. What the hell? And so Vanguard goes in and says, oh, we'll get rid of those now. It's too funny, but nonetheless, it's going to take some time for things to kind of really get moving with it. But now that it is actually available, I think you're going to see more than not these companies allowing their customers to actually get involved in it. They're going to get pressured by it. People are going to want to. The more they hear about it, and now the fact that they don't have to understand self-custody and wallets, guys. I'm going to tell you what. A lot of stuff we talk about in Bitcoin and in crypto is this idea of self-sovereignty, be your own bank, stuff like that. People don't want to do that. Newsflash, people don't want to do that. They want it to be done for them, right? It's why people out here in the U.S., the passing of the Patriot Act in 2001, right? In 9/11, right after that, even though that was a huge usurpation of power by the federal government, right? But people wanted they wanted to believe that they were being protected, right? And it's just encroached on us a lot more. But it's the same thing. People don't want to be their own, bank. People don't want to be their own security. And so while you're in here, you may feel that you want to be. The reality is most people don't. So why do I say this? I say all this because, something I talked about a few years back was if you really want mainstream adoption of Bitcoin, you have to make it easy for people to get involved with. And if that means, spot Bitcoin, you've got to make the wallets and sending easier, right? You can't make it so, oh my God, if I miss one, alphanumeric letter number there, then it's going to screw everything up. And then there's no clawback on it, right? There is no ability to get it returned, really, right? Which is something that we say, hey, yeah, this is great, but the average person is like, no, what if I screw up, And so it's a lot more technical. So one way now that people can get involved in it without actually having to go through all that stuff, they get exposure to Bitcoin, right, is through ETFs. Now, again, you're in here, you hold Bitcoin, you're probably going, why the hell would you want to do an ETF if you can hold it yourself? Well, these are some of the reasons. These are some of the reasons people would do, right? If you're interested in price appreciation, be grateful, be excited, be happy. If you're in it for the tech, then you probably hate the ETF idea, right? Guys, I want to be honest. At the end of the day, I'm a trader, okay? And so for me, it's about price appreciation, right? More than anything else. Why? Because I know to change things against the way the government and mainstream everything has going on, it's almost impossible. Doesn't mean Bitcoin can't change things, but I think what you guys are going to end up seeing is a really bastardized version of Bitcoin if it finally does, right? Big finance, big banks are not going to just let it come in and take over and that be it. We've talked about this for years. Okay. So for me, it's like, listen, I'm going to do what it takes for me to take care of myself, my family, protect us. If Bitcoin does great and gets out there, does the things that it was, people are expected to do, well, great. If it doesn't, I'm still going to make money within the regular system because I'm going to tell you guys right now, the only real freedom is wealth. Okay. You can say, oh, my government freedom. No, if your government can tell you can do or not do something, that's not freedom. That's a privilege. And privileges can be removed at any time, right? The only real freedom is wealth because regardless of what your government says, if your government says, no, you can't leave, if you got money, you can leave. You find somebody that can get you the hell out, right? And I mean, that's a really kind of out there thing to say, but it is the way it is. And so that's kind of the way I look at it. All right. So let me see here. Corey, what's up? Says the IRA says, I can't withdraw my, let me see here. It says, I can't withdraw my IRA money. So I'm in the spot ETF. See, there's reasons, guys. There's a lot of reasons within the legacy system of why people are going to be in the ETFs. I don't think they're a failure at all. I think they're doing really well. And I think they'll continue to do even better as we get on there, right? So there is that. Let me see here. Mark says, try to use a crypto payment system. It's terrifying. Send 10,000 USD. You know what will pucker up real tight watching the address verify. I got to be honest with you guys. I've been doing this for years now. I still get nervous every single time, even if I copy and paste, because a lot of these platforms now have the ability for you just like click the button to copy the address, the wallet address, right, and put it in there. I still freak out, right? Because what do you do if it's wrong? That's it. You're gone, right? It's done. And so, yeah, these are things that still need to be figured out in the grand scheme of things to really get widespread adoption, if that is to come in. I mean, like, where everybody's kind of doing the spot ETF or the spot Bitcoin thing more so than the ETFs and stuff like that. So yeah. What's going on? I see some more going in here. Michael Johnson, extentation. I can't even say that, man. But I'm glad to have you checking in. What's going on, man? Let me see here. Brian says always send a test amount. Always, yeah. I'm a big proponent of that, and I hate that too because it's wasted money, right? but it's more wasted if you don't send the test amount and it goes and it doesn't make it, right? So yeah. Um, Let me see here. Oh, Corey's saying here, the most wallets allow you to save an address. I always transfer a small amount to make sure it makes it and then transfer the bigger amount to the saved address. Yeah. Another big thing to do, right? For sure. But, again, it's just that thing. Again, if you've been in here for a while, guys, even though it's still kind of with us, right? We still do it. We still jump. We still do it. But when new people come in, that's really scary for them. And so, yeah. You guys, that's just part of that. Again, why might somebody who could get spot crypto, why would they, rather get exposure to an ETF? Just one of the varied reasons there. Okay. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump in here, guys. Oh, by the way, real quick here, I have had so many requests, so I'm actually going to do this. I can't believe I'm going to do this. Right there, we're going to have a flash sale on the group coaching this weekend. It'll be 50% off for new students, okay? A little bit later today, I'll put the info under this video once it's uploaded and whatnot. A little bit later, I'll put the info under there. But it's a flash sale. It's only going to be partially through this weekend. And once it's done, it's done. So if you're interested in joining us on there, you're going to definitely want to take advantage of that, all right? Let's go and jump in here. So here's my chart, guys. Here is the chart. This is the grand behemoth, the big thing, the one I've been updating with you guys since basically June of 2022, right? When we started talking about accumulation beginning. And, again, this is what we've got. We've got the accumulation, got the pullback. We got the reaccumulation here. Remember, we had the 2 pullbacks instead of the normal 1 that we would usually get. And then we've rallied up. And so what I found remember I said, listen, we were looking at a different potential account here, but I said, if it does break down, here's our targets, right? And it ends up being the daily S1 pivot was the initial target, and then a secondary target down here around 35,700. And if it fell further, we were going to look at the weekly pivot, which was a bit further down, 34,000 and some change, okay? And so what happened was we did get this breakdown here, right? Let me kind of zoom in a bit. We did get this breakdown here. You notice where we hit, we got this support right here at the daily S1 pivot, which means we closed back above this large ascending channel, which we've had since the absolute swing low down here, since this November 2022 swing low, and then touched again over here. Brian and I have talked about this a few times, Fiboswani, this big channel here, right? And all we did here so far, and it looks good at the moment. This is a good looking daily candle, guys. Don't kid yourself. And the volume's picking up on it, right? But that's all we did. We dipped down here, closed this pin bar on support, and we closed all these candles above that EQ. And now we got this nice breakout this morning, which is now impulsively starting to break through the daily pivot, which is something I wanted to see, right? Ultimately, I want to see a breakout above here at 43,566. If we can do that, again, I think, as I was talking about previously, we get to the upper 45s, lower 46s. And at that point, I think we're on the road to this 57,000 kind of area. Now, this is 57,000 on the Bitcoin USD chart on Bitstamp, okay? So depending where you are, you might be a few $100s off on that. But generally speaking, that's the initial target I'm looking for. And by my count here, that's only going to be wave 3 of the larger wave 3, because remember my count that we're still going by right now says 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, there's the possibility the alternate count says 1, 2, which gives you a wave 3 up at around 70, 74, 77,000, somewhere up there. But until we're getting that push to that area, I'm going to keep looking here, because in either case, with either count, you're still going up. And nothing's happened here to invalidate the count I'm on. So this is the great thing about Elliott Wave, right? It can really help you kind of figure out, even if you're not correct, you can figure you're in the correct direction, where your validation and validation level, they're clear, right? And this is something a lot of new traders have trouble dealing with. So, it's one of the reasons why we teach it. Plus, it's absolutely the best way to forecast, other than point and figure charting the Wyckoff way. Not just regular point and figure charting, but point and figure charting the way that Wyckoff did it. It's another good forecasting method as well. And if you know both of them, they're great to do that, right? So anyway, the one thing I've got right here, the one thing that we can also notice here is, okay, so we got this volume coming up here, right, into the breakdown here. And then you see volume expanding here as we kind of did this. But what happened once we broke down here? We had a volume and then volume dropped off, right? As price went up higher, right? There was no, when you're breaking down here, what you're looking for is you're looking for the expansion in volume and then expansion in candle spreads. We got neither. We got the breakdown and then volume dropped off. And so what does that tell us? It tells us the market wasn't interested in selling. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for what is the market doing. We're not looking for, the way that retail generally tends to think about it is, these big players are out there, Wall Street or some crypto whale is forcing the market to do whatever they want. No, they can't. If the market is weak in an area, they might be able to nudge it a bit, but they can't force the market to do what they want. And when you start learning Wyckoff, you start understanding, okay, it's always about testing the market. Is the market ready to reverse? Is the market ready to go the other direction? Is the market ready to continue in up or down? This is what you're doing. And what this showed right here, you got the breakdown and then nothing happened. There was no expansion of volume. There was no expansion of candle spread. That was it. Then and you had days here going sideways, little candles, volume dropping off, no interest at all in really selling comparatively, right? And the breakdown should have had it falling down. So we're looking for the breakout higher, right? And that's what we were looking at, overnight into today. We had all these little, if you zoom in here to the 1 hour is probably good, sure. You see how you have all these touches right here, right there at the range support there, that big range support? We're just looking for a breakout through that. And the odds are, because you hit it so many times, when you did it, you were probably going to break out pretty big. And that's what we got, right? Matter of fact, you can kind of look here and go, it's not that it's an ascending triangle, but you have consolidating price toward that resistance, right? Resistance holding right here. You've got higher lows up into it. You should expect a breakout. You should have been looking for a long this morning. Minimally to the hourly pivot, around 41,800. Minimally, that's what you should have been looking for. There is no other way you look at this right here. You take everything away. And if you're looking at this right here, you can take away the pivots here, right? Listen up, guys. If you're looking at these, you take away volume, take away everything. You've got this resistance. You've got consolidation up to it. 9 times out of 10, that's going to break up with volume to the upside. There's absolutely no reason you should have been looking for anything but going long if you got that breakout above this area here. And so, that's what we got. And we popped out there, and here we are above the hourly pivot now. The daily, we've got a lot of room on RSI, still got a lot of room on Stochh RSI as well. I had mentioned the weekly not too long ago and how we were almost reset down here and oversold. These are from the daily. You'll have to excuse me there. So, a lot of things going on. Look at this weekly candle right now. Look at these 3 weekly candles. This looks like an awful kind of candle, right? And then you have a doji, and then you have this dip down with this large wick back up, and we're trying to close back up above where we opened. I mean, if I see something like that more times than not, this thing is going to continue higher, right? By the way, you can notice, where did we get the swing low here? Where we had the previous resistance here, right? Which was right here where these candle spreads kind of resistance. These candles kind of split here. You can see that if you look here, it's also the resistance here, support right here. So, I mean, this is a pretty significant area that we found support at. And everybody was telling you had to go down lower. Now, I'm not saying it can't break down, go lower, but this is why I teach taking it in steps, guys. Don't assume it has to do this big, huge thing that you think it has to do. Because most people that were saying, oh, the rejection is here, and they were like, they're beating their chest. Oh, look, I was right. They were the same people that said, here, whoops, here, and here. And they kept saying it was going down to 20,000 or 12,000 or whatever. They're the same people. They just don't want to bring that up. They're just like, oh my God, look, I was finally right. But for them, you have to understand how emotions work, guys. So if you're calling that all the time and you finally get it, you're still going to look down at that original way down low target. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? There's a lot of work that has to be done along the way. And so you didn't even get past level 1 here. You can get past level 1. This initial target area right here, where all this, you got this basing going on right here. You even get, you barely tagged that and popped right the hell back up. And people are talking about, oh, 20,000, 12,000, 7,000. I mean, it's hard, guys. It's hard to be a new trader and to not really know what you're doing, and to have to deal with your emotions anyway, and then have people jumping out there with this kind of thing, right? And that's why I try to do my best to be very level-headed and I don't try and talk in any way it's going to blow smoke up your rear end. I don't try to talk in a way that's going to force you to buy or force you to sell. I try to just say, listen, here's what I'm looking at and here's why. You have to make the decision if you're going to buy or sell. I think it's going to do this because of this here, but here is my invalidation level. I always give that to you. And here's my validation level. And once we do that, I'm looking for it to do this, right? So when I trade, guys, it's not like it's just this, oh, I'm going to enter here and exit way the hell up here. There's always, as we're going along, there are targets, there are interim targets along the way to make sure that I'm still kind of following along as expected, or that I can keep up with whatever may be changing with that. Does that make sense? Let me see here. Yeah, guys, hey, hit the like, follow, hit the like, stuff like that. I appreciate that. Leave a comment, even if you don't agree with me. Just be a decent human being. Don't be a dick. Yeah, I said that, but I mean, seriously, guys, you got a choice to make every day about how you interact with people. And so it's real, to be real, guys, you can disagree with somebody and still be respectful, right? I welcome disagreement, okay? But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with it. I'm just up here to say, listen, I can't promise you what's going to happen. I would never do that because it doesn't make any sense. That's not how trading works, right? So let me kind of catch up with you guys here. Junria says, my active 401k does not have the ETFs as an option yet, working with HR to fix that. Well, I hope they get it in there soon enough. If that's something you want to get into, it just sucks when you can't, right? You got like your gatekeepers that say, oh, no, you can't do it. No one shall pass, right? Dylan, what's going on? Says, I'm new and have a large sump I'd like to put into Bitcoin. What's the best strategy to do so at this stage in the bull run? So I can't, as long as you guys know, I don't have an RIA license. I'm not a registered investment advisor. So I can never talk to anybody specifically about what you should do in your circumstances, okay? But what I can say is I think there's a good chance that pullback was a good place to get in, but it all depends on what is your time frame, right? You always have to look at, when you get involved with trading, what is your time frame? And then you still have to make sure that you have, where is it that you're looking to exit if you're wrong, right? Again, for me, I'm looking for a breakout above this, what is this here? Right here around 43,566. If we can do that, I mean, again, nothing's guaranteed in trading, but I think if we do that, we're probably then headed up, right? I think this count still looking pretty good here. But what happens if it's wrong, right? What happens if you get in here and we drop down to 35.7 or even, heaven forbid, 25,000? If you have a year plus, 2 years, whatever outlook on it, it doesn't really mean much of anything, right? You're still getting in pretty low into what the likely top will be. But the problem is most people can't handle that emotionally, especially if they're not used to trading, right? Because dealing with your emotions is a skill, and most of us can't even do it in our regular lives, much less in trading, right? Outburst all the time at people. We get up and see people that snap of a finger. If you deal with your emotions in that way, you're going to be the same way with trading. And it's going to make life very, very, very difficult as a trader. So, it always depends on what exactly are your goals, and what is your time frame that you're looking at. Those things matter more than anything else, right? If your time frame is 10 years off, hell, getting in here, or getting in at 20 or getting in at 10, it may not make much of a difference. If your time frame is 4 months out or 6 months out, it might make a difference whether getting in here or 30,000. So yeah, these are things that you have to figure out. What makes you the trader or the investor that you are. Those things I always talk about. What is your current financial situation? What are your current midterm and long-term financial goals? What is your current wealth situation? What are your mid and long-term wealth goals? Be honest with yourself about how risk adverse or risk tolerant you are. You have to absolutely be about that, because if you want to say, oh yeah, I'm really risk tolerant, but you're not, and you get into something and price starts coming against you, that's going to emotionally push you to likely pull out before you even get to where your target was. And, it might not even have knocked you out, not hit your stop loss, right? So, all these things, you got to figure out all this stuff to figure out who are you as a trader or investor. It's not simply, oh, I'm just going to throw money in the market. Generally, the market tends to go right and up, right? But the time periods are different, right? If you got in at the height of 2007 or 2008, then 2009, March of 2009 sucked, right? That was the bottom of the great financial crisis in the market, right? Bottom of the market during that time. It's a big drawdown. But if your time frame is 10 years out, well, by 2018, it didn't matter much of any, did it? Does that make sense? This is the thing that most people aren't going to talk to you about. Because most people just want to come up here and they want to be right, and they want to beat their chest about how right they were, regardless of if they're wrong and you don't understand all this other stuff. And so you end up screwing yourself because you listen, but you didn't understand all this other stuff you have to understand. Right? Everybody's going to tell you, listen, you just need to get in the market and whatever. But I'm not a big believer in that. I'm a believer in that you have to understand what's going on, but you have to understand yourself more than anything. Otherwise, when you get in the market, it doesn't matter that the analysis is what it is. Your emotions are going to take over, and they're going to make you do things that you shouldn't be doing, most likely. So, hopefully that helps out a bit in understanding that there. Let me see here. Let me kind of catch up with you guys here. Andrew says, check it out on the 1 hour on Bitcoin. Look at the volume spikes. There's a large one each day at the same time. What time, man? You going to tell us what time? Is it this one? 1300? That's 1400. Oh, it's not the same time. That's 1300. That's 1400. This is 1400 here. You seeing things, Andrew? This is 11 a.m. This is 9 a.m. You'd have to tell me where you're looking at, man. But anyway, so ultimately, we want to see this continue to push up here through the kind of swing high here. And I think that gives us a good chance of opening up here. The thing you guys have to understand about analysis is that nothing is guaranteed except in trading, except that you're going to lose money from time to time as a trader. And the newer you are, the more money you're going to lose, and the more often you're going to lose it. That's the only guarantee in trading. Okay. So that's why at Texas West Capital, what I focus on is getting you to understand how and why the market moves like it does, understanding the intricacies of volume and price action, understanding how to utilize things like Elliott Wave to forecast properly, right? And then using risk management to protect yourself. I mean, this is why we do the things the way we do there, so that you're not in this mind of, oh, I just need to throw money into the market and I'm going to be rich. Because again, for most people, you can put money in, but you don't have the emotional wherewithal to withstand 10 years of fluctuating up and down. And even if it goes up, right, and you're thinking 10 years out and it goes up a lot in 4 years, you're going to be like, oh crap, what if this goes back down on me? I need to get out, right? And that's what a lot of people deal with day in and day out as a trader. And so we work really hard to help you understand how you should be looking at it, to help you understand how you need to protect yourself so that no matter what happens, you're set, you're good, you're going to be all right. All right. As a trader, your goal is more right than wrong. And it doesn't have to be huge. It could just be a couple of more right than wrong. And your average win is greater than your average loss. If you can do those two things, your capital account, your equity curve is going to continue to go like this. There's no way it's going to stop it if you can do that. It's not just about, everybody's like strike rate. Oh, 80% win. Well, you can have an 80% win strike rate, right? 80% strike rate, which just means 8 out of every 10 trades you're making are correct, right? But if you're not using proper risk management, those 2 out of 10 losses can be greater than those 8 out of 10 wins. Okay. And so people don't think about that, right? What's going on, Marco? Good to see you here. Alvin says you need to make a plan, understand what you're comfortable with. That's exactly right. Let me see here. Is that Renee? Say bull trap? Possibly, right? So far, nothing's saying it is. So far, we're all right. As we continue to make these steps up through these levels, it becomes less and less likely, right? This is also where we look again at things like, Elliott wave, right? If this is a 1 and a 2 here, right? This is a 1 and a 2. Well, getting up here to 42,740 or so on this chart is going to be a 1618 extension. Most of the time, wave C ends around the 100 to the 123.6. By the time you're getting up to 1618, usually more times than not, that's going to be a wave 3. But again, you can also look at the price action here, right? And so if you've got this as a WXY, I'm not sure we get 5 waves down here. It looks much cleaner as 3. Well, heck, if you're breaking out above 42,152, or especially up here above 43,566, if that's 3 waves down, you break out above that, that's corrective. I mean, you can want it to go down all you want. You can think it's going to go down all you want. But if that's 3 waves down, that's corrective. That means we're going up higher. Now, that doesn't mean you can't go like 3 waves back up here and then 5 waves back down to finish the correction and then head up, as a flat. But see, this is the good thing. When you learn Elliott wave, you start understanding that there is no randomness in the markets, right? Because humans aren't random. Humans tend to repeat. They have a repetitive nature. And that shows up in the charts. So, there is no real randomness to the markets, contrary to what a lot of people want you to believe, which is why you can forecast price action based on an understanding of human nature and how humans tend to act and react, how emotions really work in there. Okay. Let me see here. So potentially bull trap. I can't promise you it's not, right? But right now, I've got 3 waves down off that top. So especially if we're going through that level there, I mean, how do we get down, further? Other than maybe, some kind of flat correction. But usually that just kind of drops right below the previous swing low. So, but again, nothing's guaranteed 100%, right? And things are not exactly the same because they're repetitive. They're similar, right? You've heard the saying, history doesn't, history often repeats, right? But it's similar, not exactly the same, right? Let me see here. Renee believes 30,000 in play because it's Friday options expiration. You don't have to type in caps. I'll gladly read what you write. I mean, as long as you guys are respectful, it's fine. I don't hold any hatred. I'm not going to sit there and go, oh my God, you don't think what I think, so life's terrible and you're awful. No. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But that's why it's important to understand your validation, invalidation levels, to understand how price may be advancing or not, right? Let me see here. Let me kind of catch up with you guys here. Saw someone on Twitter asking about 35.7 target. Is that the most current wave 4 can go, or is that the target and pull back after wave 5? Okay, so the 35.7. So the idea here is this is 1, 2, this is 3, 4. So this S1 pivot here on the daily is the 38.2% pullback, which is our usual wave 4 target. The secondary wave 4 target is the 50% pullback, and that's that 35.7 area. That's the 50% pullback. You'll also notice it's a low volume node. You'll also notice this right here is actually a triangle right here. I think it was like A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, there we go. So something like this. So, kind of coming in within, it's a wave 4 in there. So, it makes a lot of sense to find it as a support in there, okay? So yeah, if we do break down, but the further we're rallying here, the closer we're getting that 1618, the closer we're getting to breaking out above, especially this 43,566 here, the exponentially more likely we are that the bottom is in, and this is 3 waves as it appears, and we're heading up higher. And that has absolutely nothing to do with emotions. For instance, Renee, you're saying that it's Friday options expiration, so that's why you think 30,000 is going to be, right? The problem with that is you may end up being correct, but the problem with the analysis on stuff like that is that usually what it does is it exploits your emotional bias at that time, right? And this is the difficult thing for human beings to deal with, right? Because when you feel a certain way, you're going to look at analysis and try to make it fit the way you're feeling, right? So for me, the one way to explain it is like this over here, right? Remember we got this breakout and everybody said, oh, it has to come back. And I said, well, I don't think so. I said, more likely we're going to accumulate as we're rising, which is what it did, right? I said, continue going on. And I said, the reason being most likely is because we were so long sideways here. And usually when you're going, comparatively so long sideways, you're going to break out and continue rallying rather than pull back. So a lot of people were very emotional saying, oh, it has to pull back, because a lot of times you're going to get that pullback. I'm not going to argue with that. Usually you do. In this particular case, though, there were reasons, understandings of markets and structure and things like that, that would lead one to believe that it wasn't likely to pull back. And so, we got the move up. It's not saying that people were so awful and everything because they thought it was going to pull back, because often that's what happens. But their emotional side, because they didn't get in on the breakout, because they thought it was going to come down, right? They thought it was going to break down further here. And so they couldn't get in. They didn't get in. They get in. And finally broke out. And they're like, oh, well, now I needed to pull back so I can get in. This is how humans tend to look at markets. And it's why often you end up losing money in markets, guys. So if you want to have a different result than most retail traders have, right, you have to play the markets differently than most. You have to look at them differently. You have to understand them differently than what most retail traders end up looking at it. Does that make sense? And again, it doesn't have to, what I'm saying, does that mean it can't go down further, right? Trading, you should understand trading as a constantly evolving thing, right? You should never expect to go in there and say, oh, boom, this is where we're going and that's it, right? When you do that, you usually lose money, right? Whether it's a short term or a longer term. When you get into trading, you should always understand that what you're doing is something that is going to, evolve over time, okay? And so when you do that, then that forces you to zoom in a bit more and to start getting better clarity on what's going on, right? And you start looking more locally at levels, at price levels, and going, okay, so if we do this, then that increases the odds that we're going to do this other thing. But if we can't do that and we do this other thing to the other side instead, then we're probably going to continue toward this other way, right? That's what trading's all about. It's not about coming in there one day and saying, you know what, here and that's it. Because it's going to change as it goes along the way there. Oh, Andrew is saying the 1 hour candle volume spikes are on Coinbase only. USD only too. Every day, last couple of weeks at 2000 hours, 8 o'clock. Yeah. So, and that would make sense. Again, Coinbase is the big custody for most of those ETFs, right? Yeah. So it's probably, you say most likely connected to ETF. I think it's probably GBTC. Without even looking at it, I would say it's probably GBTC. Because remember, they don't buy and sell throughout the day, right? They usually do it once a day. They aggregate at once a day, and that's when they do their buying or they're selling based on whatever doing. In GBTC's case, it would be selling, right? But getting out of that. So I think that's probably what it is. Let me see here. Let me kind of catch up with you guys here again. What's going on, Mike? Good to see you checking in. Bitlicious. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. 100%. Suleiman, what's going on, man? David says CME already closed and February open is up 600-700-ish. I like to hear that. Let me see here. Yeah, Michael Johnson, what's up, buddy? He's also chiming in about the settlements for the ETFs. Yeah, that's what I think that is, especially since it's USD. They're on Coinbase. So yeah, that's what I would look at. All right, guys. So that's what I'm looking at there. Let's go and jump in some other charts here real quick. Let's see. DXY. You guys may have seen my big macro chart here. Still the same. Nothing's changed. This is the monthly, by the way, just so you can see the whole thing. Basically, what I'm looking at is an A and a B and then a C. So it's a flat correction. And so that would give us, a generally expected wave 5 of C target down here at about 70. Okay. So what we're looking for is a breakdown below this swing low here, this 99.22. If we can get that, that increases the odds we're heading to wave 3, which is down here around 75.33. Okay. If, however, we're breaking up above wave 2, things start getting a bit more interesting then, and I start leaning toward the idea that maybe we've got a bit higher to go. I don't think so. Again, if I'm counting this looks like a pretty good 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if it does, we'll look for, especially once it's getting up here, I guess probably about 111, 112. At that point, I'll really start expecting it to probably break out higher here, finish wave B up here at 125.7, and then come down. I don't think we do that, though. Like I said, right now, I think we're doing good here. Monthly is going to close, what day is it, Tuesday? Wednesday of next week is when the monthly will close. Watch this monthly candle. I think we'll see it close below the pivot, and if it closes below that monthly pivot, obviously, or yearly pivot is what it is actually, just showing up on the monthly chart and the weekly chart. But if we're closing below that, I think it kind of cements the idea that we're headed down lower there. If you're looking at interest rates coming down, liquidity increasing, stuff like that, you should generally expect the dollar to pull back, right? Extra liquidity, people when they're thinking there's more dollars out there, it's worth less. We want to get into something else that isn't debasing as much, right? Just a general way of kind of looking at it. So I think we still kind of going down there further. Let me see here. I'm a big fan. I told you guys about these are the Russell 2000 E-minis here. And I've been talking about this range here. This is like 500 somewhat days. We got impulsive breakout, big candle coming out through that. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is up here around the R1 pivot, right around 22.15, 22.20. That should get us 1. And that pullback is going to be 50% to the pivot, which is what we're looking for. Right back there toward that pivot. So the idea is small caps here should rally on up there toward the R1 pivot, then pull back to the pivot. That's a 1, 2. And all of a sudden, if you're doing that, life is looking pretty good. You know, exactly where you get it in here. And, you're probably getting 5 waves up toward 34.81 at least. So I think small caps are going to have a pretty decent year. This does appear to be accumulation here based on the price action and volume in this. And so, yeah, I mean, I like it. I think it still looks good. If you're into indexes, probably be one I'd be watching for on that, right? Yes, the Russell 2000 small caps. Yes. And that would make sense, right? Because if you think it was the large caps last year, more or less, right? Especially with the Magnificent Seven, right? But small caps just been going sideways all that time right there, right? And you get this kind of A, B, C thing here going on. Slight little wick here below the swing low of the range here. So a little bit of a what we would call a spring. Rallies up, pulls back, boom, pops up through that. Nice volume coming on. It rallies up, boom. Nice volume pushing up through there again. Pulls back to test that resistance to support and trying to now break out higher there. This is the weekly chart. As you can see here in the Stochk RSI, curling up, trying to cross bullishly and break back into overbought. RSI itself just pulling back to the SMA there. It's bullish at around 60 almost. So I don't think there's a whole lot of reason to be looking lower in that. Sat says Tom Lee thinks they'll go up 50% this year. Man, well, yeah. I mean, hey, that would be in line with kind of what we're looking for it to rally up, right? So I think there's a lot of potential to that as well. Brian says, I moved half my federal 401b into small caps a month ago looking for a pop. I think that's probably a better move than not right there, honestly. So we'll see how it plays out. You were following Tom Lee on that? Oh, good. If it's wrong, I don't have to be blamed. You can blame Tom Lee, right? He's on CNBC. I'm just some guy, right? Let me see here. Microsoft, I've posted this before. We've just finally hit the wave 3 target. So back here in October, we were looking for this target up here. We just now hit it. If we continue pushing up higher, we'll look around 432. But if we can get a rejection right here, a little bit higher, we should pull back down here toward this 335 to, well, we'll say the 50% area, 313. Initial target at 38.2, 50% secondary target. And it's right there around that weekly pivot. And that's what you want to see. You want to see this rally up into, almost this R1 pivot, pull back to the pivot, and then the breakout higher. And that kind of sets that pivot up as your, support, your longer term support there. So yeah. Let me see here. Oh, Ethereum. What do we get here? We got the rally up here. The pullback looks like it's in 3 waves. Looks like a 3 waves back here toward these wicks down here. Again, just the overall, just the support here. Still looking at this as a 1-2, 1-2. Like Bitcoin, we're getting a good rally. We had a pin bar down here. Let's see. This was the pullback. So this was the swing low. We rallied up. We pulled back. Bullish engulfing candle coming up. We want to see that volume expanding over yesterday's candle. We do have Stochk RSI bottomed out and oversold. And this is the daily, which is great. Again, RSI almost oversold. Basically the same look as Bitcoin. Except that it didn't break down below the range support area there. It just was inside the range. And now here we are trying to break out above that daily pivot there. So still looking for 3,300 on that coming up from here. What are my thoughts on MSOS? Have I looked? I think I looked at that, didn't I? Let me see here. Give me a minute. It looks like I looked at that end of last month. I'll tell you what my thoughts are. Did I do anything? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so yeah, so I was looking at it as being in a 1-2, working on a 3 of 3 here. So wave 3 has got a minimum expected target of 1230. The larger degree wave 3 minimum expected target of 1455. We are just now coming up to the swing high here. So looking to break out above that. But yeah, I mean, we probably, if we're going to break out impulsively, we could reach that, but otherwise we might actually get a pullback here, and we might have to overextend these targets a little bit higher. But just based on what we have right now, that's probably what I'm looking at the moment. So yeah, not terrible. What's that weekly look like? We're above the weekly pivot. We broke out. We came back, pulled back. Look what we did this weekly right here. We're here. We pulled back, hit that weekly pivot, rallied back up. Bullish hammer, pin bar on support, rallied up through it more. we're hitting this supply up in here now. There's supply in this wick right here. And so far we've hit the EQ of that right there. So yeah, so ultimately this is the target I'm really interested in, this 1455. I'm not really worried about this interior stuff at the moment, because this can, as the price action continues to play out, this could morph into something a little bit different and give us overextensions or something. I'm more interested in at least 1455 for that wave 3 target. And you'll see that gets us kind of up here where this other resistance is as well on that. But I do like this coming above the weekly pivot, the pull back into it and leaving that long wick and that hammer candle there and then rallying up further. I like that. If we're pulling back in here, you should find a lot of demand in this area right here. So kind of getting you around, if it does happen to pull back, whether it's here or up higher. Well, I mean, if it starts pulling back around here, you probably expect it to pull back down toward this pivot area and then right up higher. And then we would have to change the targets here up higher. But we don't know that until it actually happens. Yeah. Joe, man, what's going on? Oh, you enjoyed the TA on the Wolf of Wall Street, man? I appreciate you. Glad to see you checking up here. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Yeah, so it's about level-headedness, right? It's not about, you'll never see me talk about emotions, guy, or give you analysis based on emotions. It's always based on, listen, here's where things are kind of looking. If we're looking through the lens of Wyckoff and Elliott Wave and price action, because that's what I teach, all of that with our group coaching. And just this bigger understanding of what social mood is all about, and what is it, how is it leading to what's going on. So that's kind of where we're at with it. I don't know if there's anything really huge going on with it at the moment. Like I said, if we can get rejected around here, I would look for a pullback toward the pivot and then look for a breakout higher. And then these targets will go higher, and I'll just have to, change what's going on in this interior account here. But I think, wave circle 3, at least up there around 1455 on that. Link was a great one. You guys remember this one, right? We were talking about it as it was going long sideways forever here. And as we were over here, I said we will probably get a dip down here to about that $4.50, $5 level. I said that'll be a spring, because this looked like accumulation up to that point. And I said that would probably be the place to buy it. And some of you did. And so, we've done really well, rallied up to 17, just over $17.50 so far. A lot of people freaking out, but guys, this here is the weekly. All we've done is go sideways since November 6th. All we've done is go sideways here in this range, and this new yearly pivot here showing up on the weekly is holding as support. I think we go higher. What I want to see is a breakout above that $38.31 level, $38.31 at wave B of 2. And if we're doing that, the odds are that adds confidence to the overall account. We'll be doing a wave 3 to new all-time highs. For right now, anyway, we had a 1-2 here. This looks like a 4. So if I look here, this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gives you a 4 here as a flat probably. And let's see here, pullback. We dipped down almost just below the 23.6, but we're going sideways. We're doing a flat here. It looks like ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like we're probably headed up here. 21.72, I think, is minimum target. That gets us. It also gets us right there into that low volume node as well. Let me see here. Like I said, minimum expected there. We could potentially see it rallying up here toward, a little bit further up here. right beyond price acceptance, and right into around 30, almost $34 maybe. Quite likely there. That would give us a nice 50% pullback to the pivot there. But I think, look at that, the weekly Stochk RSI is almost reset down into oversold. RSI remains bullish above neutral there. So a lot of possibility in that. Just looking for us to break out of that channel resistance there now. All we're doing is sideways. I don't think the 2172 holds. I think it breaks out above that because we've been going sideways for almost 2 months now, right? No, almost 3 months now. February 6th or so will be about 3 months. So yeah. You bought the spring thanks to me on Link. Oh yeah, that was great. That was a great trade there. Not as great as Saul's been so far, but yeah. Let me see here. So yeah, I think we got some further upside there. PayPal real quick here. Remember, PayPal's the one I called over here at the bottom. Rallied up about 35%. It's pulled back. This pullback is just in 3 waves right now. If we can break out above this swing high here at 66, that says that we should be heading higher on that. Let me see. I think this may be just potentially a 1-2 locally here. It pulled back 78.6 on this rally. So yeah, if we can break out above that, looks like it's probably a 1-2 here, which would give us 85.80 or so would be the target coming out there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and then 5 minimum expected up here. That fills in the gap here. That fills in the gap here. This little island reversal here, it's got those gaps right through it. So that would go to fill that in. That'd be a pretty good little move. So yeah, if we can break out above that $66, I think we should be looking up there toward almost $86 up there on PayPal. I'm going to have to get out of here soon, guys. My back is really killing me, but let me check up here real quick. By the way, guys, if you missed it, Fibbo did say, again, that he would be here next week, Friday. He said everything that's going on, all hectic and crazy at the office over the last few weeks should be done, and he should be good to go then. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that, all right? ASTR USDT. Let's get this set here. Yeah, like I said, guys, don't forget, we're going to have that flash sale here this weekend for a bit. It won't be, once it's gone, it's gone. I'm going to update it under the video here after it uploads later. Once I have the checkout set for that. And you can get in for half price. I tell you what, if you put in the time and effort, you really kind of ask questions and you pay attention and you show up and you go through the stuff we have, you're going to be an entirely different trader. Entirely different trader. Did you say ASTR? ASTR USDT. Oh, because I'm putting that dang dash there. Or that slash. Let's see what we got here. So we do have some, not quite the swing high there. We got some bearish-ish type stuff here. This looks like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me see here. Yeah, it can't be there. Can't be there because wave 3 would be the shortest. So this is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but maybe. Let me see here. We want to break out above this hourly pivot. I mean, if we can pop up above this hourly pivot, we got about a 50% pullback. So if we can do that, 2095 would be, 1, 2, minimum expected wave 3, and then potentially 0.2213. And that'll take us up toward the top of this wick. And there's all this supply in here that's been kind of eaten up as it's been going up through it. Let's see here. Man, that was huge. That was big. See all this volume that came in here? Took out a lot of supply. And instead of following, see, this is where we talk about candles, right? Look how bearish that looks, right? Huge upper wick, huge volume, small body at the bottom, but there's no follow through. Instead, it's rallying up through it. So this basically is telling us this just cleared the way for that move up. So I mean, if I was to look at this real quick here, I'd say probably 1, 2, 3, 4, working on 5. The big candle, big volumes, 3. Yeah, see, just beyond the 2.0. Based on the height of wave 4, you're looking up just about where I threw it exactly. Look at that, 0.4535. Yeah, so if we're breaking out above wave 3, I think we're probably heading up there to 45 cents. This pullback's over 50%. Odds are this is probably a 1-2 here. If that's 1-2. Yeah, see, at least there, potentially even 0.78 up there. If that's going to be a 1-2 there, if everything just, wave 3 normally, 54 cents, wave 4 pullback, wave 5 normal target, almost 0.78. And that gets you kind of that breakout above this swing high here. But this is a nice move up. I like the clearing here. We definitely want that to break out higher. Swing high there, swing high there. It's possible we could get this pulling back here again to wave 2 to finish out. This could be ABC. So you could be doing a flat here. And so if you get this decline here, you can look back around this this swing low here to finish off wave 2. And then you'd look for that wave 3 move up here. But we'll have to see how that plays out on that. Whoops. That pullback does look like a wave 2 right there. Yeah, this could either be a leading diagonal heading up and coming back for wave 1 of 3, or again, could potentially be ABC up here and coming down. It just, do we get the impulsive breakout above here is what we're looking for right now for that local target. Moving with that. Let me see here. And MicroStrategy real quick. Let me look at that. And then I'm going to get out of here, guys. Hopefully we'll see some of you guys joining us. Texas West Capital. We'd love to have you there. We give you a whole year of everything, but that includes everything we've ever recorded previously as well. So well over 300 hours of video content in there, in addition to education, from the weekly live streams, the educational live streams that we do. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at the possibility here that wave 5 of a leading diagonal completed. We only have 3 waves down here. So breaking out above this swing high, this is the weekly chart, breaking out above the swing high here, 522, should indicate that we're going to rally higher. Okay. And what does that mean? That means if this is correct, with the spring down here leading this nice move out, right? If this is correct, the pullback is short, but oftentimes you're going to get a short pullback with your diagonal, because with your leading diagonal, because there's a lot of overlap, so it provides all that support. You can see that it was support here, which was resistance here, which became support again right here, right? So this is all support right here that we've pulled back into. So I mean, this would give us, if that's a 1-2, that'd give us a 3 up there. Let me just see how this plays out here. Let me do this. I want a local count first before we go any higher, because this could, I would look probably at least at $1,000 right now. We're breaking out above that 522. I think we at least get to $1,000. Then we can kind of look at how that is playing out. But yeah, you get like a ABC, ABC. So it's like a WXY. So actually, or it could even be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Minimal, we need to get above 522, and then I want to see it pop out above here, above 611. And that way, you know, if it is a WXY here, that would be what you need to get above. This is a good candle today coming off. Look at this on the daily. We're just now starting to break out of oversold. RSI almost getting down into oversold here. Crossing bullishly across the SMA, rallying near neutral. You got volume on that rally. You've got this pin bar down at the bottom of this doji. Right about that 38.2 on that full pullback there. See, that's just based on the idea that maybe this is a 3 and a 4 here. So, you know, kind of depending on how we're looking at this, again, I want to look initially right around that $1,000 area, I think. Yeah, 992. I want to at least look there first. And from there, see how price action reacts around there. If we're getting a strong rejection there, it's going to suggest that maybe that's actually wave 5 up there. And yeah, this is A, B, and then C here. On something like that. Or this is 3 and 4 here. Just a lot of overlap in that. So that's the first place. I'm looking at 992. If we continue pushing up through that, things can get interesting then. But I think we at least look at 992 right now. Seth says, prepare to drink for the fire hose when you join. It's totally worth it. Talk about TWC. Yeah. So we'll see how this plays out here. If we get rejected prior to this 611, we'll look for the pullback down. But again, you know, when I'm looking at this, you know, I kind of defaulted to the idea that this is a potentially a 5-wave up as leading diagonal. But it's potentially, let me see here. Yeah, see, it's potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So this becomes 1, 2, and then this is 1, 2, right? And all of a sudden that pullback is right around the 61.8. So that's why I want to see that 992 first. If we can take out that 992, then things start getting really interesting. You know, we can start thinking, you know, a good bit above 1,000 there. But yeah, until that, I want to see that breakout there, and then the 992, and then go from there on that. I appreciate you guys showing up as always. Thank you so much for your questions and, you know, your thoughts and everything. Again, I'm not here to tell you that you're stupid and I'm smart or anything like that. I'm just here to say, listen, I've been doing this for, you know, 28 years. I do it pretty well. Here's what I'm thinking and why. And then along the way, hopefully helping you understand a lot of the pitfalls along the way of trading, especially a lot of stuff that people just don't generally talk about. You know, most people out there just it's all churn. They just want you in. They want your money. They don't care if you're doing anything to get you out, right? They want to sell you something. Yes, we want you to join, but the reason we do that is because we really believe we can help you. But I can't do it for you. You have to be the one to jump out there and do it, right? You got to do all the work yourself. But I promise you guys, you can ask anybody that's in there. If you're doing the work, man, I will give you absolutely every bit of me that I possibly can to help you get to be better than what I am. That's the goal. It doesn't hurt me any if you become better than me. It makes me feel good though. And I'll be honest with you, it's all about me. It is. I don't believe in the altruism stuff. I told you guys that before, right? But that's okay, because if what I do makes you a better trader, it's win-win. And then I feel good about it. It's win-win, right? Angela, what's up, man? Says, thanks for the broadcast. Came here to learn, and I did. Maybe get a stand-up desk. I do actually. This is a stand-up desk. I've been standing up a lot lately, and I twisted my back again the other day doing something, and so I've had to sit down a bit more the last 2 days. But yeah, I actually went out and bought a standing desk, and then I've got this stupid expensive chair behind me. It's an X desk chair, I guess. On that, this one has heat and massage on it and everything. So, but anyway, guys, yeah. So listen, as always, I appreciate you guys showing up. Even if you don't join us, it's cool. You know, we'd love for you to be there. I think, you know, you're going to take years off your learning and you're going to lose a lot less than what you would on your own. But, you know, if you choose not to, that's cool. You know, just continue to come back. I promise you, there's a lot to pick up every week that I'm out here. I always try to, again, really help you understand all that other stuff that people often aren't going to talk about. All I ask is if you're of the mind, you know, hit the thumbs up, hit the like, leave a comment. Like I said, your comment doesn't have to agree with me, but just be a decent human being if you don't. I'm not here again to tell you that I'm definitely correct. I'm here to say, listen, this is what it looks like to me. This is why. And then use proper risk management along the way. Anything else, guys, is solely an ego thing by anybody else, okay? So just want you guys to learn here, okay? Data says, TWC for me became the most liked place to be, well, right after being in the kitchen. I agree about the kitchen, my man. I agree about the kitchen. And we do have people from all over the world, so it's kind of crazy. It's kind of great. South America, Canada, the UK, where else do we got? I got you everywhere, right? Japan, Australia. We got some Australians coming in lately. Got a few Aussies. I think we got a Kiwi or two in there as well somewhere. So 100%, Brian. That's right. 100%. Okay, guys. I really hate to let you guys go, but I do need to get out of here. It's killing me. As always, remember, the only thing you control is how much you lose. That's it. All right. That's the only thing you control as a trader. So day in and day out, your risk management is going to be the most important thing you're going to do. So what does that mean? That means work on it. That means you need to give that more of your mind, more of your time, more of your practice than anything else. Other than that, guys, it really is about focus, discipline, and consistency. You have to put in the work, just like any other skill out there, guys. If you want to be an elite footballer or an elite musician or something, you got to put in the time. An elite artist, you've got to put in the time. You can't get to those great levels without doing that. All right. So that'll do it. You guys would be great. If you're in TWC, I'll see you guys over there in a bit. If not, and you don't join, I'll see you next Friday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget, I'm with Scott Melker on Wednesdays at 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time as well. I'll pull up some charts and whatnot. And usually you can catch me a few times a week on Crypto Town Hall as well on Twitter, X Spaces, whatever that is there. So lots of places to kind of get my thoughts and whatever. If you're on Stock Twits, follow me there. I just started an account there. I'm going to check it out and see how it is. But if you're already there, maybe you can guide me. All right, you guys be great, be safe, and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody.